several different states have tried redrawing their congressional maps to try to favor one party or the other. It started last year in Texas, then California, Virginia, Ohio, North Carolina, Missouri, Utah, Florida, and now a handful of states in the Deep South. Montgomery, Alabama. This is the birthplace of the modern civil rights movement. We're on the grounds of the Alabama State Capitol. It's the kind of city where there's a statue of Jefferson Davis, the former president of the Confederacy, next to a newer statue of Rosa Parks, who in this city refused to give up her seat on the bus. This is Dexter Avenue in Montgomery. This is where Martin Luther King Jr. would lead marches to this state capitol from Selma to push for equal rights. And it's in a congressional district that Republicans controlling this state now want to redraw in the wake of last week's decision by the Supreme Court to, in essence, neuter the Voting Rights Act. It had to do specifically with a congressional district in Louisiana that the justices argued unnecessarily factored race, or perhaps factored race too much in drawing the district that stretches about 200 miles to account for most of that state's black population. And it was a signal to other states that they don't necessarily have to account for race as much as they have in the past when drawing districts across this part of the country. In most of these southern states, there are mostly Republican districts, and then one or two, usually won by Democrats, where most of the state's black voters live. Well, all of these states now are redrawing them, arguing, as the Supreme Court suggested, that they don't have to factor for race anymore, and that given they're controlled by Republicans and vote mostly for Republican office holders, there should be more Republican members of Congress representing them in Washington. People in this state argue Alabama's a little different. There was a case a few years ago that required it to draw two districts for mostly black voters, and that it's not part of this argument that was made last week regarding Louisiana, that in essence things have been worse here, or weren't handled as well, that Alabama shouldn't be allowed to redraw the lines. Is this a Republican power grab?
No, I think what it is the legislature in Alabama being able to exercise their authority.
And for months, Democrats had been, in essence, winning or keeping Republicans on their toes when it came to redrawing districts across the country because they'd gotten so many out of California and Virginia. They were going to likely pick up one almost by accident in Utah. Now, if these Republican-controlled states in the South succeed, the GOP believes they'll be able to maintain their edge in the elections this November and possibly hold on to the majority by the thinnest of margins, even though polling right now suggests Democrats are more likely to win Congress. So this is confusing, and it's a state-by-state thing dealing with all sorts of different laws and traditions and history, but ultimately it's all about who controls the House of Representatives after November, Democrats or Republicans. And they're trying to do things that have not been done before to make sure the House leans either red or blue.